This is the time of the year where, besides the weather, taxes are on everyone's mind. Taxes are the only way a community, state, or country can function, providing things we need, things as simple as water, roads, and security. Politicians are always looking for ways to raise that money in a way that is fair and equitable with the least amount of pain to the taxpayer. It is also important to remember that about taxes is that we, the people, are the only ones who pay taxes. It's not the business of the corporations, as any cost of doing business is always passed on and paid for by the consumer, who is always a taxpayer. It is also important to remember that the government does not have any money. We, the people, are all the only ones with any money. The United States citizens are the most tax-compliant population in the world because we, more or less, trust our government more than any other country's citizens trust their government. Our country has the youngest history of any major power, with the amount of corruption and oppression also the least because of our relatively young age. As a result, the corruption, depravity, and atrocities seen throughout history is considerably less because we have a government of the people, by the people, for the people, living under a constitutional republic where the personal rights are preserved and valued. The liberal trend is constantly trying to rewrite these truths. They start by saying we are a democracy. That is code for saying that we can steal your money if we get enough votes. They continue to say you are a victim of the government and the government owes you because of events that took place generations ago. They also treat that we must be compassionate to illegal immigrants, giving away your money to get their votes, and it doesn't matter if they're a citizen or not. They also object to having a citizenship question on the census or requiring identification to vote. But they want all non-citizens counted, and they also want to have them vote because that determines how much money and representation they receive. These trends, or how other countries throughout history have become footnotes in time. Their government was seen to be unfair and corrupt, overtaxing, causing citizens not to pay their taxes as a result. If the government violates our core values of fairness, truth, sustainability, and integrity, the citizens cannot be expected to respect the laws or stand by those core values either. Our tax burden in Nebraska is becoming increasingly high, ranking 5th among the worst states in the country with combined taxes according to Kipling report. What does this really mean? It means that the state government is not operating like we must operate in our personal lives. It seems they don't care about the burden of uncontrolled spending that is being put on our citizens. It also means that the state is an undesirable place for business and retirement. This sort of uncontrolled spending continues over the decades, with the trust waning in our politicians. The spending must be controlled, and the natural reaction when this occurs is when the government mishandles our resources, is that they become footnotes in history because the citizens revolt against the government that no longer trust. We cannot tolerate a double standard that selectively says that we are controlling our spending, but endlessly debates issues like gender, sanctuary cities, soil task forces, or mountain lions. Almost every issue that the legislature introduces requires more money and enforces rules that advances a dishonest or unsustainable agenda. We as citizens who care about our state are doing our best to live within our means. Is it asking too much for our politicians to do the same? Elections always deliver candidates that are as close to the center as possible. As a result, we get politicians who are perfectly average. If we want honest, capable representatives in our lives that live our core values, we, the people, must also do our part and leave these core values and raise the level of average in our population. We do this by sharing these thoughts with our families, friends, and others if we expect to spawn better politicians. This means that we must all live by the core values of fairness, truth, sustainability, and integrity if we want our politicians to do the same. This is Keith Kuby, wishing you the best in making the world a better place.